John Eats Cheap doing something I've wanted to do for a long time. This is a really good yet odd sounding thing that Mrs. Cheap and I discovered many, many years ago. Sausage shrimp chowder. We use an Italian sausage with shrimp, some potatoes, and make a chowder out of it. It's very, very tasty. We don't have it, I haven't made this in a couple of years, several years probably, but we had some leftover Italian sausage. So I thought, hey, let's do it. So here's our ingredients. We'll leave the full recipe down below because this isn't a full version of this. I'm just doing because we have a little, like a quarter of a pound of sausage left over. So I'm adjusting the recipe. And we start off, we're going to melt, tablespoon and a half of butter. Well, let's just make it 2, right?
More butter, more better.
There you go. We're going to get that melted. And I got the recipe, I think, says a quarter or half a diced onion. That's just a little bit of diced onion. I don't know how much. I parboiled 1 potato. And I actually parboiled that in the stock. You can use chicken stock. This is like some leftover Better Than Bouillon lobster stock that we had that Mrs. Cheap found online, which is a great stock for seafood. You could use seafood stock or just chicken stock. We won't use all of that. I've got my seasonings, the only seasonings, garlic powder and Montreal steak seasoning in a soup. That's one of my favorite seasonings, and that's probably what drew me to this recipe. As I said, we'll have the full recipe down below. I'm going to get these onions in here. We just need to get those cooking a little bit to start. Then we'll add our flour and make a roux. All right, so I will say, and if you look at the original recipe, you'll say that there's no roux in that. Yeah, I'm kind of calling it audible here. I'm just going to make it a little thicker. Add about a tablespoon and a half to 2 tablespoons of flour. Once the onions are softened up a little bit, we're going to cook this just for a minute or 2. So we're going to add our stock now, just a little bit. Stir that so it thickens up. Like I said, exact measurements in the recipe. This one's just winging it with a few leftovers. That'll thicken up a little bit. Whisk it or stir it. We're going to go ahead and add in our seasonings, which is garlic powder. Just going to add a bit. You can also use fresh garlic in this too. I think the original recipe calls for that as well. And Montreal steak seasoning. This is, it's like red pepper, garlic, coarsely ground peppers. I really love this seasoning, but you don't need to do too much. Just kind of like that, because it's really salty. That's enough right there. You want to get that in early so it has a good chance to dissolve. Get a little more stock in here. We're going to add our sausage. Like I said, this is, probably less than a quarter pound of Italian sausage. Going in. Maybe break it up a little bit more than it was. Kind of thick, so a little more stock. We're going to be adding a little half and half to this in a bit. Let's get our shrimp in there. Now these are 16 to 20 count shrimp, so I cut them in half because those are good sized shrimp. And they are raw. And this is, I think, 8 shrimp, 8 or 10. Go ahead and put those in raw. We're going to let those cook a couple minutes. All right, so that's simmered for about 5 minutes. The shrimp are cooked, so now we add our parboiled potato, diced up, just 1 potato. and half, which I don't have. So I'm using half whole milk. And I do have cream, so heavy whipping cream. And that's kind of to consistency. I think there are measurements in the original recipe, but not when I'm just whipping it up. And we're going to let that simmer for about 15 minutes. All right, so that's 15 minutes. It smells great. I'm just going to check the seasoning here. Excelente. Let's eat. Let's dish it up. Shrimp sausage chowder. Very good, and just an odd combination, but boy is it tasty. I like mine with a few saltines, but I'll just do the taste test without. Thick, hearty. I got to get a potato, some sausage, and a shrimp. Try and get them all. There we go. Very hot. Very hot. I mean, the first time I made it, I thought I wouldn't think Italian sausage and shrimp would go together in a soup, but it's very, very good. And very quick, and we did it kind of with leftover sausage, one potato, a few shrimp. Pretty easy to make and very tasty. That's what's for dinner for the Cheaps tonight with Johnny's Cheap. Thanks for watching.